If you have watched YouTube videos, listened to podcasts, or really been on social media at all at any point in the last 2 years, odds are that you've heard of Daily Harvest. It is a food delivery service that delivers prepped and portioned meals that you only need to blend or heat and are ready to eat. I remember when I first started seeing ads for Daily Harvest, I was kind of confused because all of their ads were like a cup with a bunch of like whole vegetables or fruit sticking out of the cup. And I remember thinking like, what is this? This company just sends you like a cup of vegetables? I was so confused. And now I realize like, no, they just send you like a cup of soup, but that doesn't look pretty on Instagram. It might seem like an obvious service for me to try, but interestingly enough, Daily Harvest doesn't really use the terms vegan or plant-based in any of their marketing that I've seen. They sort of brand themselves as this fruit and vegetable focused company. I'm not sure if it's a conscious choice to stray away from those terms, but I would guess that it is. So they don't really market themselves as vegan, but to be noted, everything on their website is vegan, so that's good for me. I've been curious about Daily Harvest for a while, but I would say even more lately, I've really been craving something that makes my days a little bit simpler, specifically around lunchtime. So what I'm going to be doing is basically trying Daily Harvest out as my lunches, or like a part of my lunches for the next couple of weeks. The only thing I didn't order was the flatbreads. I tried to get a variety of like the smoothies, the soups, the bowls. I also didn't get any of like the oat bowls because I'm really not a big like oatmeal person, and I just didn't really think I would enjoy that, like especially being that I'm gonna be mostly eating this stuff for lunch. So basically, as I try these foods throughout the week, I am going to check back in and like be like, I liked this, I didn't like this, whatever, things that I liked and didn't like, and then at the end of the week, or whenever I finish them, probably in like a week, maybe 2, I'm going to check back in and let you know what I thought of the service as a whole, the taste of the food, the nutritional content, the portion sizes, how satiated I felt after eating the meals, the convenience factor, and the sustainability factor. So those are all things I'm going to rate on. They gave me this little thing was inside it. Use the stickers to keep track of ingredients you try. When you get 5 in a row, take a pic, share it, and tag Daily Harvest. And that's stupid. Time to find some room in my freezer. I'm just drinking my first smoothie. It's the mint and cacao smoothie. It's actually really, really good. Probably the smoothie I was most looking forward to trying, so of course I tried it first. It just tastes like a mint chocolate chip milkshake, and it was really easy to make. So far, really enjoying it. I tried one of the coffee pods. There was the other type of like latte that I got. I didn't realize like it doesn't have caffeine. I guess I assumed it did, but then again, I think it's kind of nice that it doesn't, because then it could be kind of like a late afternoon sort of pick-me-up type of thing, and it's something I could drink at any point in the day rather than just in the morning. But this is pretty good. It's really not sweet at all, which I like a lot. I like it a latte. They recommended like blending it with milk and then putting it in the microwave if you want to heat it up, but I just blended it with a little bit of soy milk and then like probably a cup of boiling water, and then it like blended it into this nice like frothy latte. So that's what I would recommend doing. I gotta be honest, I'm not that excited about it. Like, it's just vegetable. With a soup like this, I would definitely add in, if I were making it, like chickpeas or lentils, like no brainer. If I got this in a restaurant, I probably wouldn't be excited at all. I'd be like, what is this? That's really mediocre. I mean, at least it's healthy. But like, healthy does not equal delicious. And healthy can and should be delicious, but you want to eat more of it. If I was an omnivore and I got this and was like, oh, I'm gonna try this vegan food, and then I got this, I'd be like, Vegan food sucks. I was right about my preconceptions of it. Had the Mesquite chili for lunch and it was good. It was definitely better than the soup yesterday. It was more flavorful. It was spicy, really spicy. And it had lentils in it, sweet potatoes. So I feel like it had a lot of good stuff in it to keep you full. And then we made the 2 smoothies. Chai coconut and Paul has the banana and greens. And I actually was kind of disappointed because I thought I was really gonna like this one. And then I tasted it and I was like, oh no. And I looked at the ingredients and it has star anise in it. I hate the taste of anise. It like makes me angry when it's in something because I'm like, that has to be a polarizing flavor. Like, why put it in something? Anyway, so it's okay, but it's not as good as I thought it was gonna be. The banana, like the greens one is pretty good. It's like kind of creamy, but it was really good lunch. It was like healthy and satisfying and quick and easy. So I always feel like when I eat cauliflower rice, I sort of just wish it was real rice. And with this meal, you know, it's actually pretty good. It's flavorful. It tastes a lot better than I thought it would based on how it looked. But I feel like this is something that I would put over like pasta or rice or like add something else to it. It doesn't really feel like a meal all on its own. Like I'll probably be hungry 10 minutes after I'm finished eating this. It does have sun-dried tomatoes in it, which I honestly think saves the dish because they just pack such a flavor. I'm gonna finish this and then I'm probably gonna go make the Chaga chocolate latte thing. That'll be a good little post-lunch treat. It's so hot today though, I might make it iced. We'll see. So I put water in, a little bit of soy milk, and then I put ice cubes to make it into this like frozen blended drink. I took a few sips of this, I was like, oh, this is really good. And then I was like, it kind of reminds me of something. And then I realized it totally reminds me of the frozen hot chocolate from Serendipity in New York. I'll also say that while I was down there, I snacked on a bunch of chips and salsa because I was already very hungry again, like not even 10 minutes after I finished my lunch. So this is not only the meal that I'm least looking forward to, I am actually dreading this. I am not in the camp of like, don't call it bacon if it's not bacon. I don't care, call it whatever you want. Calling this pad thai is not only so misleading, but also slightly offensive. And it tricked me. Like, this meal catfished me. I cannot stand the taste of seaweed. It makes me sick. So I would never voluntarily get something that had seaweed in it. This has kelp. When I've had kelp noodles before, they have never had a remotely like fishy or ocean type of taste. So I was like, okay, this will probably be like that. It's all kind of like de-thawing in the pan and I'm like, that's weird, where are the noodles? Then I see this like black mass and I'm like, is that the kelp? And I start breaking it apart and it literally just looks like a pile of seaweed, like washed up on the beach. So then I try a little piece and I immediately was like, ugh. It was straight up fishy seaweed. Like, I'm just putting this off. I'm gonna try a bite. I've had like little tastes here and there, but I can't do it, you guys. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I feel like a little kid, like at the dinner table, like mom trying to feed you spinach or something, and you're just like, I'm an adult. I think my palate has like filled out pretty nicely, but that I can't do. It's just like the mixture of like the seaweedy type of flavor and then just like the mush. It's just pure mush. I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm gonna compost it and I'm gonna make the broccoli cheese bowl. I just wanted to pop in and add that I went to the Daily Harvest website and under the Brussels sprout pad thai, I saw this. Maine kelp noodles tossed in a spicy almond sesame ginger lime sauce. Maine kelp noodles. They said noodles, okay? These are kelp noodles. This is regular kelp. This is what was in the bowl, not this. So I do think that their marketing was a little bit deceptive there. Also, I LOL'd at this review. I can best describe the texture as upsetting, kind of mushy. I have another one of these sitting in my freezer. I'll cover it in sriracha as I choke it down. I am obsessed with that review. I mean, good for you, Meredith, because I couldn't even force myself to do that. Okay, that's it. This bowl is already much better. It's very saucy, it's supposed to be like a cheesy bowl. And so it's basically like a tomato sauce with like a shit ton of nutritional yeast from what I can tell. And it's good, the flavors are good. This is definitely something that I would want to add like rice to, or eat it over pasta, or with some potatoes. For this video, I wanted to just eat everything as is and determine how satisfying it is as is. Like, do you need to doctor everything up, or can you eat some of the stuff on its own? Another thing is that there's celery in here. Like, what is celery doing in here? To me, that is not a flavor that goes in here at all. Like, we've got like cauliflower, broccoli, like a gratin type of thing, tomatoes, sunflower seeds, great. Then you've got celery. Like, you should just be like enjoying it and like along for the ride. You shouldn't have a moment where you're just like, what was that? Look, it's healthy. And I gotta say, it is infinitely better than that last bowl. I'm glad this bowl came along to save the day. So that wasn't even every single last Daily Harvest thing that I ordered. I still have like 2 things left in the freezer, but I thought that was a pretty good sampling, and so I want to wrap this up and kind of give my final thoughts. In the description box, I'll put every single thing that I tried and whether or not I would order it again. So let's start with taste overall. I would give it a 7 out of 10 for taste. I thought for the most part things were well seasoned, interesting flavors mixed together. However, there were a couple times, like with the anise in the chai smoothie or with the celery in the broccoli cheesy bowl, where I just thought like, why is this in here? Like, this flavor doesn't go with the others, kind of ruins it for me. So there were some things like that, like not everything was a home run. Also, sometimes I thought things were a little bit like under seasoned, and like, while we're talking about taste, let's just put texture in there with it, and sometimes I thought the textures were off. It's hard with frozen food not to make it like mushy, but even with this soup, like the first soup I tried, you guys saw that I really didn't like that, and I thought the texture was really weird. Now let's move on to nutrition overall. Oh, I didn't even give a number rating for this. I would give a 9 out of 10 for nutrition. Obviously, there's tons of veggies and plant foods, so like lots of fiber, lots of micronutrients. Like, the basis of all of their food is extremely healthy, and there's really nothing in there that's unhealthy. If you had asked me how the protein was, I would have said that it was lacking in protein, but I actually looked up the nutritional info, and I was pretty shocked by how much protein some of the bowls had. So the broccoli cheesy bowl that you just saw me eating, that actually had 15 grams of protein in it. I think a lot of people fall prey to this kind of thinking, and I am doing it right now, which is that like vegetables don't have protein, and vegetables do have protein. You don't necessarily always need like a legume or tofu or something to get that protein. Like, sometimes just the veggies alone can provide enough. In all the bowls, the protein seemed to range from about like 8 grams to 15 grams per serving. Most of the soups ranged from like 7 grams to maybe like 14 grams. One of the soups I looked at had 2 grams of protein in it. So the soups were a little more all over the place. The bowls kind of seemed to consistently have more. Moving on to portion sizes, I give portion sizes a 7 out of 10. Soups and the smoothies I thought were fine, perfectly portioned, and the coffees, I'll just throw the coffees in there too. The bowls just felt to me more like meal toppers than like a meal itself. Like, it always felt like with the bowl, like I'm supposed to put rice in this, or like chickpeas, or put it over pasta. Like, they didn't feel like meals. It just felt a little frustrating to need to add something to everything, and I felt like everything needed something added to it for the bowls. Now we're going to move on to this word, which is apparently pronounced satiety. I would give a 6 out of 10 in this category. This sort of ties in with the portion sizes. Definitely always felt like I needed to like have something else with whatever Daily Harvest thing I was eating. It never felt like enough food on its own. I think to kind of help with that in the future, I would probably make sure that all the bowls that I ordered were like a lentil or a chickpea based bowl as opposed to just vegetables. I just think for me that would keep me fuller longer, or have like rice in it. Like some kind of complex carb or like a legume I think would help keep me fuller longer as opposed to the just vegetable ones. But with plant foods in general, they're higher in fiber, so for me, I tend to get fuller much quicker, but then I get hungrier much sooner after my meal. But like with the Daily Harvest stuff, I would feel full and satisfied for like 5 to 10 minutes and then be hungry pretty soon after that. So when I'm looking to like save time on my lunch, I don't want to make my lunch, eat it, and then be like, what else should I have for lunch? So now let's move on to convenience, and in this category, I am giving a 10 out of 10. The reason I wanted to do this was to have something more convenient for lunch. Daily Harvest made my lunches / snacks, whatever I was using them for, so much easier. The mental energy that I saved was huge. And I will say I discovered that there is a Daily Harvest app, and I downloaded that, and the app is super user-friendly, super well designed, so the app makes the whole process a lot more convenient as well. Now let's move on to sustainability, and for sustainability I gave it a 7 out of 10. So Daily Harvest announced like pretty recently, like I think in March, they said as of April 2020 they're moving toward 100% compostable, recyclable packaging. So they say that everything basically in the Daily Harvest box is recyclable or compostable. I will say with the bowls that like the Harvest bowls and the soups came in, I actually filmed myself talking about this, but I didn't include the footage. So even after I would rinse them out, there would still be some kind of like food residue stuck in like the fibers of the bowl. And from what I understand, you can't recycle anything that has food residue on it at all. Like if you're recycling a glass jar or like a peanut butter jar, like it has to be completely clean. Otherwise, a recycling facility will reject it. And I've even heard that they will reject like your entire batch of recycling. So the fact that some of the Daily Harvest bowls had food residue, I still put them in the recycling after I had rinsed them, but I just wonder if that's going to affect their ability to be recycled. And then the other thing to mention with sustainability is the food miles. So like the distance that the box travels to get to you, that obviously has a carbon footprint. My box at least was shipped from New Jersey, and I think that's where their processing facility is. So for me, that's not too far. It's about 2 states. I did the math. It's about 200 miles. It's not like the box is shipping across the entire country for me, but that still obviously has an impact. So other than doing like a carbon offset type of thing, I think the best way for me to deal with that, or for I think anyone who's thinking about Daily Harvest, would be to go for the monthly box option as opposed to the weekly option. With the monthly box, you have to get 24 to 26 items, I think. That's a lot more items that you have to get, but you're only getting it shipped once a month. You're only getting all the packaging once a month. And then for me, what I would probably do is like get the 24 to 26 items and then like skip the next month, so that I'm really only getting it like every other month. And I think that would help a lot with like the food miles situation. Now let's move on to value, which I don't think I mentioned in the beginning, but I think is important to include. For value, I would give it an 8 out of 10. Some of the items felt totally worth it to me, and some felt like a total waste of money. Like for example, the meal that I had to literally waste because I hated it. I guess that's more of a me thing than a them thing, but like they also kind of said that there were kelp noodles when there was really just like actual kelp. I'm not mad. I also wish that you could just order like a one-off order and not have to sign up for like a weekly or a monthly plan. But like with all these millennial companies, you're on like a plan, and it just sort of feels like all these companies are just like, okay, how can we like get people's money like once a month? Like how can we get someone's credit card and charge them once a month or once a week? And then they like move backwards and are like, maybe we could do a service. Maybe we could do like a food delivery service. Maybe it could be like a plant-based food. Why can't I just order a box, like a one-off, just order a bunch of stuff and not have to give you my credit card and not have to do a weekly thing? Something about it, and I talked about this in the purple carrot video, something about it feels kind of scammy to me. Like they're sort of banking literally on you forgetting to skip your order that week or forgetting to cancel the service and just like continuing to charge you. And there's something that feels really icky about that to me. And then in terms of value, everyone has a choice of how they spend their time. You could spend your Saturday like getting a ton of stuff at the grocery store and then spend most of your day on Sunday like prepping everything and putting it in the freezer. Or you could throw some money at the problem and do a service like this. It all just depends what feels more worth it to you. So for me, I did find that Daily Harvest added a lot of value. And then lastly, is it worth it or not? For me, it was definitely worth it for the smoothies and the soups. for the bowls, it just didn't feel worth it. To me, anything that makes your life easier and gives you more time to focus on other things is just going to feel worth it. And obviously it's not something that everyone can afford. I'm very lucky and privileged that I can afford something like this. So I'm not saying it's worth it for everyone, but for me, it does feel worth it, and I probably will continue doing it. Like I said, probably more like once a month. I've already skipped like my next 2 shipments while I kind of figure out like what I want to order again and whatnot. So yeah, that's my whole Daily Harvest experience. I hope this helped you if you're thinking about getting Daily Harvest. If you've tried it, do you agree or disagree with the things that I said? I'm happy I finally tried this service because it had been piquing my interest for a long time, and now I know. Thanks for watching, guys. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Subscribe for more vegan and low waste content, and I'll see you next time. Bye.